Welcome to the Creator's Journey with the Halfling and the Spaceman. We love talking to creators about their journeys and how they became creators. And we have invited Don Mancha III to join us. He is an editor and writer for comics and TTRPGs, which is tabletop or role playing games. So, welcome, Don. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Well, we're glad that you could take time out and join us, and we're looking forward to a fun little conversation. Well, let's go ahead and get the ball rolling. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Sort of your formative years, and tell us what got you interested in comics and in role playing games.
Mm-hmm. So I was always into storytelling, like really early on. I talked a lot and I liked kind of watching movies and doing all this stuff. And I didn't really put together that I liked storytelling until I got older, but I was doing it the whole time. Right. Mm-hmm. And the comics bit really took root in school. I forget the exact grade and I forget why I was at school late. I don't think it was detention because they don't usually let you read books in detention at my school. But for whatever reason, we were there late. And one of the other kids was like, hey, I've got a copy of Scott Pilgrim #1. Do you want to read it? And I'm like, what even is that? And up till that point, I had read Batman. I had read Spider-Man. Like I would always check out the Essential Spider-Man and read it over and over again. It was a really, the library was where I lived for a minute. If I wasn't getting books from there, I'd go to the school library, just books all the time. But and I had an understanding of comics, but I didn't know they could be something other than superheroes. So then I was handed Scott Pilgrim, and Scott Pilgrim is very unique for it is grounded and spectacular at the same time. And I didn't know you could do that. And that was like, oh, wait, I can do that, like and people made this too. Like, it's just a matter of, I can learn to draw and all this stuff. And it turns out after about 3-4 years of art classes, I could learn to draw, but I wasn't really happy with the stuff I was making. And I just decided to make it somebody else's problem. And I just worked with artists instead. And that kind of just kept going. In high school, I made a club and we would like kind of work together and do some stuff. And shortly after high school, I met my first collaborator. They go by Cartholic now, and we did a webcomic called Purgatory, which got picked up for publication in 22. It was a while, but so that got volume 1's published. We're working on the second one, but we did that and we were doing other projects on this. I was doing projects on the other side with other people. Oops, excuse me. And that publication got me noticed by somebody else who's like, hey, you're published. Come work on a TTRPG with me. And I had been 2 or 3 years on a D&D campaign and I really liked role-playing games and I definitely wanted to make one, but I couldn't really think of a concept that I really liked.
Yeah. And
they were like, hey, come work with me. And I'm like, I've only done comics. So how would that translate? And it turned out it translated really well. Yeah. And we literally, so the game that I had worked on with this person is in a very playable state. They got busy and they had to handle some other stuff, so it's not published yet. In the time since work stopped on that, I adapted a comic setting I was doing to a TTRPG, and that is currently testable right now. And I'm playing with that and getting that figured out. So it was books to comics to more comics than role-playing games. Just all one thing.
Yeah. So it sounds like it was sort of a snowball effect, if you will, I guess almost. It just, one kind of led to the other.
Yeah.
And it is opportunities, right? That,
yeah.
You were in the right place at the right time and had the right experience and that opened the door for you to do the next thing.
And it's very rare that a nerd has a single interest.
Yeah.
That's true.
Very rare.
Very rare. Very rare.
So rare.
We can't be good at everything, but we can try.
100%. I got a box of board games that I haven't played yet. It's not even funny. Ugh.
Oh, we have boxes and boxes of games that we don't have people to play with. So
Nah,
it's a
it's
factor of
rough.
just getting a little older. So Don, I'm going to go on to the next question. When did you decide to try your hand at the comic business? That seems like a pretty big thing to jump onto.
Yes and no. Like, I don't want to sound pedantic and stupid and artsy, but like, imagine asking somebody not to breathe, you know? Like, I knew I had to do it. It was like, how? Like, literally, when I was doing my webcomic, I'm like, I want this to be physical. How can I hold this? Oh, hold on. I'm going to check California for publishers. Okay, I found a publisher. Do they have an internship program? Cool, they have one. What do I do? I'm like, sorry, you can't work with us till we're 18. Like, okay, cool. So I would send them emails on each of my birthdays until I was 18. And then when I was 18, okay, cool, let's talk. So I was their social media guy, and I would talk to the other departments at that company. And it turns out making comics is actually really easy. Sorry, it's not easy, it's simple. You need a script, you need somebody to draw it, you ideally want to edit it, and then you need to get it printed. And it has only gotten easier over time to do all of those things. And I realized that the important parts of the process I could do myself. So I don't want to disparage publishing. I think there are really cool things you can do in partnership with publishers. But kind of after I got Purgatory published, I kind of moved over to kind of doing my own publishing and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a primal urge more than anything else. Like, I need to make comics. I have to make comics. How do I make more comics? I'm going to get a job so I can afford to make more comics. I'm going to go to school so I can get better at writing so I can make more comics, you know?
That is the exact same thing that we hear from writers who are trying to get their books published. We hear time and time again that it's something they have felt they had to do. Like, there are stories in their head that just will not go away until they get them out, until they get them on paper. And it
Yeah.
is like you said, you almost said, a primal need. This, it's not going to go away until you do it. So it's the exact same thing. I guess any creative person, feels that same way. It's just this need to do it, and it's not really going to go away until you do it. Till you step in and do it.
Halfling, it is much better for the voices in your head to be telling you to be creative than some of the things that the voices tell people to do in movies.
Indeed. Oh, gosh. Indeed. Yes, we listen to these voices, not the other ones.
Draw, right.
Okay, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Halfling, over to you.
All right, let me try to get us back on track here. So let's talk a little bit about the services that you offer, because I was looking at your website and I looked under services, and there are several different things that you offer for various clients, and one of those is character writing. So tell us a little bit about that service. You say that you make sure that the customers, what their vision, I guess, is for how the character is voiced in the comic, and that you make sure that it matches. So how do you do that?
So, again, the process again is very simple. First of all, what do you want this person to be? What do you want them to act like? At what stage of their life are they acting like this? Are they changing? Are they staying the same? A lot of little questions that are going to inform how they act, right? And why they act that way. And then we make sure that the things that they do are always coming back to the success vectors that we have identified. Like, cool, this is an angry person. Why are they angry? How are they angry? Is there a cure for this? Is there not a cure for this? Is there, like, what is their story, and how are they dealing with this anger? How is it manifesting in their lives? How is it affecting the people around them? Stuff like that. It's it's about kind of, if you understand what it is you want to do, it's going to be that much easier to kind of bring that about in terms of like how that manifests. And some people don't know what they want to do, and that's also a thing I got to do. Like, okay, cool. How do you want this to be, etc.? Yes, no, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So,
So essentially, you help people build the scaffolding for the character that everything
yes.
else is built on. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. So you can do that at the character level. You can do that at the script level. You can do that when it comes to writing. I'm really clinical about it, despite caring about it deeply. You know, because like there are patterns that you notice the longer you read, and if you pay attention to certain things. You know, and there is a moderate demand for people who understand these patterns, and I've gotten some work for my ability to see that stuff and be like, hey, if you want to do this, consider doing this. So, yeah.
And the advantage of offering this service is that you don't have character swings that come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that always aggravates me as a reader, or whether it's movies or comic books or television or books, is when a character just has a face turn out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. That is in the work I've been doing. I've noticed that it's kind of been to move the story forward. And I think that I understand the idea to want to just kind of have things go, but like people will feel cheated if they can't necessarily see a through line between what is happening and like what's happened before, like what is leading up to this change, on another project, I was like, hey, this kind of just happens, like what's the litmus for this? He's like, you know what? I think I don't really want to touch this anymore. I'm like, hey, fine, that's fine. But you brought me here to let you know, to tell you this. This is me telling you this. You need to make the choice after that, So, yeah.
Yeah. There and talking about the character in general, it's a matter of consistency with how the character acts throughout the comic. It, and if there is a face turn, what's the reason for it? There's got to be something leading up to it, which would make sense, for the reader. Don't just throw it out there like you said. You have to know where that face turn is coming from. Why
Exactly.
are they all of a sudden changing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's a conversation to be had about how much broadcasting should be done. Because for every time somebody doesn't broadcast their thing at all, a lot of times people miss stuff. I miss stuff all the time. Despite really being focused on the cerebral elements of the stories I'm writing, a lot of stuff just goes right over my head. I am big dumb when it comes to a lot of stories, right? And I think the discussion of the works with other people is kind of where I get the most fulfillment when it comes to talking about storycraft and like the stuff we're watching, because a lot of people will see things that I don't. So, yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like it's back over to me, Halfling.
Yeah.
So, Don, the Halfling tells me you got a Kickstarter coming up. A new project, a new comic called Mud and Bone. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about this project and when is it coming up?
Cool, I can. So Mud and Bone, it's about a kind of a family of mercenaries that are just coming back from a big war, and they got to fight a giant mud monster kind of in this town that they're passing through, and in so doing, they get the attention of somebody who wants to hire them for their services. I wanted to do a fantasy thing for a really long time, and like I found an angle with it that I really appreciated. So that's all I can really say without getting into spoilers. In terms of like it, I'm not sure when it's coming out. There are a lot of things going on with that project in particular that are kind of like gummed up right now. So I want to do it, and I want to do it soon, but like some stuff has to get in place. But I know how it's going to get made, and my portion's done. Like it's a 90-page kind of story. I've written the pages. It just needs to get drawn. So figuring that out, the when and the where, that's the main thing. So I'd like it to be out sometime next year. We'll need to see. But yeah, that's kind of where that particular project is at right now.
So that brings me to a question that I was going to ask related to Kickstarters. Um, you've used Kickstarter before, right?
I
Haven't
have,
you?
yeah.
On
Mm.
other projects, and did you have much success with it?
Um, Mixed bag. I'm one out of three on Kickstarters right now. The first Kickstarter I did, I tried to crowdfund Purgatory. That didn't go over very well. The second one I did, last month's game, last year ish, if I remember correctly, that I was able to get, but by the skin of my teeth. I almost didn't make it. If somebody didn't come in the last couple of days, I would not have been able to do it. And in this most recent one, we got about 30% of the way there. So yeah. It's a mixed bag. And I think the problem isn't solely Kickstarter. It's that there's more that you need to do than just throw the campaign up on the website. I do believe there was a time on Kickstarter, like if the idea was good enough, it could just go. Nowadays, there's a lot that you're fighting for attention for, not just on Kickstarter, but like just in all over the place. And Kickstarter, anecdotally, isn't especially concerned with kind of like showing your stuff to other people if they don't know it's going to do well, right? Like why give it this attention? Like so they have staff picks, so like staff can like highlight a thing. And I do know people that have gotten their stuff highlighted for like it's up to the whims of kind of the people running the thing. So there can be an inconsistent slant to it depending, but like it's up to them. It's their platform. They don't need to do advertising work for us per se, right? The headline, "Oh, this person has $1 million," would kind of just beget more attention on that project, right? So I have done it before. I you need to do extra work. You kind of need to really bring your own audience, and or you need to have a plan when it comes for how you're getting the word out. um yeah, it's a mixed bag. It takes a lot more work than I think a lot of people realize. So I recommend it for I wouldn't recommend it in terms of like fundraising from nothing. You want to have some investment in, and then you're using this to try to kind of get over the finish line. I want to say you want to have it 60% done, and then you're trying to get the other 40. But this is more or less viable depending on the scale of project that you're working on. And this is also offset by how much advertising you need to do too, and like what how many people know about what you're doing in the first place, et cetera, et cetera. And this is compounded by a lot of social media websites don't want you to leave their sites. So if you have a strong following on a platform and you are sending them somewhere else, you can get tagged for that, or they'll de-emphasize the link post for that, you know? So yeah, it's a bit of a mess. So
It is. It is. But that ties in really great with our next question. And the next one of the things we ask pretty much every creator we have on the show is to walk us through your process. But here, since you've been using Kickstarter a lot, I'd
mhm,
like to hear not just the creative process, but also the whole process of getting it from your idea initially onto Kickstarter out there to
mhm,
the funding for the world, and
mhm.
how that whole process works from end to end.
Okay. So when it comes to making a story, it usually doesn't come all at once for me. It's usually I will get a moment or I'll get a character idea and I'll be, oh, that's cool. I'll write that down. And then we'll kind of just go from there. So okay, cool. What are the themes? I've made a template I like to do for all the stories I'm doing. So like character information, blah blah blah. And I'll just make like a repository where all of that's there. So if I want to find anything else about the thing that I've done, I can just type in a thing and find it, right? So I'll always get a pitch doc done, and then after that, I'll try to do an outline. I'll do some rough scripts, do some moments, just kind of figure out what the vibe of the thing is, do a mood board, and once there's enough meat there to where I'm comfortable, I could make something compelling. I'll look for an art team. I'll find a beta reader to read the scripts in its earlier form so I can get opinions on it, stuff like that. So um, it has usually been for me that the project is creatively locked in, and then we do the Kickstarter. I know people that don't do that, where like they will be assembling the team while they're doing the Kickstarter, and these people frighten me, but that is an option. Like why would you want to do a comic without having, like, an editor and all this stuff there? We don't know how this is going to be, right? Like, I think that a lot of the names and the showing that you have the thing ready, you just need money, is more compelling to me. That said, there are really excellent pitches that have needed to assemble teams that I have backed. So, um, yeah. But yeah, no. So I try to get the creative stuff done. I want to at least like 70-ish%, and then if I'm kickstarting it, I'm thinking, okay, cool. What are the rewards going to be? What are the add-ons, etc. What extra stuff do I need to make for the Kickstarter? In the case of Mud and Bone and last month's game, there were extra assets I had to make, like the banner. If I was going to do a Facebook or an Instagram ad, I'd have to do that. I would either repurpose images that got made, or I would make some special. I really hate making special images for ads, because if they're good and you can't include them in the Kickstarter, people are going to be like, I didn't get the thing that got me in this, and that feels really bad. So I try to make sure it's something that you can all, if you're seeing an image, it's something you can always get in the Kickstarter. And this is apparently a hot take. I want to make sure that there are at least some finished pages people can see, like with lettering and stuff. Apparently, it is accepted practice to kind of just put up words without lettering, and I've heard explanations as to why. I wasn't especially compelled by the ones that I've heard. So if I'm ever doing something, I want them to know what they're getting so that they can't feel cheated at any point. So if they don't like the lettering, right, that's totally fine, right? Because I want you to get something that you like, and it would have looked like that at the end. So
Yeah.
that's important. Um,
Sure.
yeah, like I don't want anybody at any point to feel like they're cheated. So I want to show you at least a bit of what you're getting. So yeah. Um, I so that's the main thing. Start creatively, get the aesthetic down, get the story stuff down. Then when you're going over to Kickstarter or just releasing it in traditional publishing anyway, you want to think about what materials do you need to make, like what covers, what advertising stuff, if you need to send out press packets, stuff like that. And I'm talking about these things separately. They don't need to be separate. You can be thinking about what are the rewards while you're making the story, because then maybe you're getting a real world item as a reward. Okay, cool. Do I change the design of this character's shirt so that this is something I can make in real life? You know, um, I'm a purist when it comes to how we kind of advertise and talk about the work we're working on, and like I like to have the creative stuff done separately, because I hate the idea that we got to like make money off of everything. But there's no one way to do it, and you're not tainting the work by kind of thinking about how you're selling it and like how you're gonna like monetize it while you're doing it. Like one project I'm working on right now was, oh, I don't have this kind of book on my table at all. What kind of book can I make that's like this so I can do this? And I came up with something authentic from this quote unquote non-authentic starting point. So yeah, um, find your process, whatever it is, and then you can more or less do whatever you want. Do the creative stuff first, do the Kickstarter first, do it at the same time, etc.
And how did you learn to do all this stuff? What prepared you for to do this?
Failure, lots and lots of failure.
Okay.
I would always like do a story, and I'd see a blank page, and I would always be stumped. So I'm like, I wish there were an easy set of rules I could follow so I could do this every single time. So I found I don't know if you remember the show Camp Laszlo. The one of the executives at the time that Camp Laszlo was on the air dug up the pitch that she was sent, and she made a pitch template. So I copied that, and I did that for a while, and then I found Jim Zub did his own pitch template, and I combined those together. So whenever I'm doing a story, I'll fill out this pitch template, and if there's something that if there's a section I don't need for that project, I'll just cut it out. So just starting rough kind of made me think I need to make this easier, so I did that. In terms of how to figure out how to monetize your stuff, or how to think about like starting from a marketing angle first, it was enough. Hey, you could have turned that into an item. You could have made that a sticker. You could have made that a shirt. I'm like, yeah, I could have. Why wasn't I thinking about that? And then I'm like, oh, and now I just kind of got that in my head now. And I think it is about headspace more than anything else. And like, I
Yeah.
want to succeed at this thing. How do I do that? And then when I'm hit with failure, I'm like, okay, cool. How do I adjust that? Yeah.
Yeah. 100% motivated and just focused to get it done. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm underselling how many iterations I had to do, I think. Like, the only reason I'm moderately organized now is because I was so unorganized most of my life. And I'm not diagnosed with anything yet, but like so not officially, but like I got tested and they're like, cool, you've got stuff going on in your brain. We're not sure what though. And I'm like, oh, excellent. So I got to just take extra steps. Phenomenal. So that's manifested in to-do lists, just
Yeah.
sitting down and planning out as much of my life as I can. Like I got spreadsheets upon spreadsheets that are keeping me functional right now. So that that extending from my desire to make comics has kind of come out to make me more organized in general. So, yeah.
I I can sympathize with the to-do list, making the to-do list because
The
I
halfling and her
I
to-do list.
I retired back in August of last year. Um,
Congratulations.
that, thank you. That kind of gives you an idea of where we are age wise. But I for the longest time I was sort of struggling with how to do retirement
Mm,
because 26 almost 27 years on the job, and all of a sudden I don't have that. I don't have a schedule. I don't have
mhm,
deadlines. I don't have discipline, routines. I don't have that. So recently I decided, okay, I'm going to start making daily to-do lists so that I have things to focus on to do. And I'm
mhm,
not just sitting here reading or doing online, puzzles,
mhm,
and scrolling the reels on Facebook, things like
mhm.
that.
Yeah.
So the to-do list for me is a savior because without it, I would just not have any focus.
Mhm.
So
I
so
mhm. No, no,
so
no. Like you need the to-do lists. In my case, are to service the end goal of making more comics, and
Mhm.
you get to make more comics when your life is organized, and you don't have to worry about what the bills are being paid when. You know, like it. Yeah, no organization. I think if it's not for a greater goal, it's kind of just empty and pointless. Like, sure, I know I need to do clean the garage, but why am I cleaning it? Because I like it to be clean? Who cares? It's a garage. No. Exactly. Know why you're doing it. Like the inner, like, I don't know if you remember Simpsons, like, do it for her. Everybody needs a her to be doing it for, you know?
Even if the her is you.
Exactly. You can be the her. Yeah.
All
So,
right. Well, now we're to the most important part of our interview.
mm,
Where can people find out more about you and the services that you offer and the projects that you're doing?
thank you very much. Yes, you can find all of my personal work at donmancha3ii.com. There's three I's, not three number ones. And my publishing house, Revenge Audit, is at the same spot, revengeaudit.com. All one word. Um, yeah, I've got links on my socials there. I'm most active on Instagram, also at Don Mancha III. So just if this was cool, there's more of this concentrated there. Yeah,
We'll make sure to get all that in the show notes.
yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. Uh, well, we want to thank you for taking the time again to join us for this chat. We have had a great time meeting you and getting to hear about everything that you're doing, all the work that you're doing, and we appreciate the hard work that goes into what you do. So we hope that you have continued success, and
Thank you.
we'll be on the lookout for when you get that Kickstarter going, and just let us know. We'll have you back on.
Definitely keep tabs on me in general. We will have stuff out before Mud and Bone is out. So
Okay,
yes, be
very
rise.
cool.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am. Thank you so much for having me. I'm sorry.
is that information on your website?
Yes, indeed.
With
Yeah,
the
we actually
projects
have.
that are upcoming? Okay.
Oh yeah, it's all upcoming. We got a show schedule. We're actually going to be at Free Comic Books Day this weekend in Dublin at King Kong Comics,
Oh,
and
nice.
we're going to be at Oakland Comic Con. We're tabling. So I do have to
Very cool.
update that. Yeah, we got to put the table information on there. But yeah, no, we're all over the place. We might be coming to you if you live in California.
Coming to you soon.
In California.
and if you live in California.
Indeed.
Well, we also want to thank our audience for joining us tonight, and we hope that you've been inspired and entertained by today's guest, Don Mancha III. And this is the Spaceman for the Halfling and the Spaceman podcast. Over and out.